Welcome to Playfully Orange, our conversations on Thursdays about arts and culture here in Central Florida. And my guest today is Terrance Hunter. Welcome, Terrance.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
So, Terrance, you are now at CFC Arts, Central Florida Community Arts.
Yes.
And what is your role there?
So I am the Vice President of Education and Operations. So I oversee all of our education programs housed in our School of Arts and Health, as well as the day-to-day operations of the organization.
And you kind of got your start with education, right?
I did. I started more than a decade ago as a museum educator at the Orange County Regional History Center.
And did you always know that you wanted to be in the arts and culture?
I didn't. I fell into it. I got my first arts job really through a summer employment program that Orange County government offered several years ago. And I had a placement at the History Center, and I was supposed to be there for 9 weeks during summer camp. And while I was there, a position opened, and I applied, never thinking I would get it because I had literally just graduated high school. And yet I did. So 9 weeks turned into 4.5 years for me.
And you were teaching kids there?
Yes, so as a museum educator, I did birthday parties and school tours and Boy Scout and Girl Scout workshops, homeschool programs. We did everything, everything. I got to work on public programming there, supporting special exhibitions that were happening at the time.
Did you learn some things about our community you didn't know?
I did. Particularly then, I learned really how diverse our community is, especially in downtown. You get to see some of everyone. And so that was a really great experience for me in learning how to connect with people from different cultures, people who of different ages. I also wasn't a really big history fan. So I had to learn the things that I wasn't necessarily fond of in a way that I could present them and make them fun and exciting for other people. So I also got to get some of that specific subject matter experience.
And you also worked at the Holocaust Center, which also has a historical base to it, right?
Yes, I did. I spent 3.5 years there, I believe. Seems
Doing
like a
education.
lifetime ago, given COVID.
Doing education.
Yes, so at the Holocaust Center, I did some education programming, public programming, exhibitions as well.
Where else have you had a job in the arts?
So I spent a couple of years at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Jacksonville. It was my first art museum experience. I was also a museum educator there and oversaw all of our outreach activities.
Did you have much training in the arts, visual arts?
No, I can't draw a straight line on notebook paper if I'm being honest, which is part of the beauty about contemporary art and teaching art, teaching in the art museum. It's not about your ability as an artist, it's about what you see in the artwork and how it moves you. And so we got to have really great conversations with students and adults in the galleries. And Mocha Jacks was the first institution I worked at that self-curated in such a large way. They were producing really great, large, robust exhibits in-house. And so I learned really a different aspect of the museum industry working there as well.
Tell me more about that.
So a lot of museums, there are some collecting museums and some non-collecting museums. Not everybody houses their own collections. Some museums choose to bring in all of their exhibits and artworks from other places. Mocha had its own permanent collection, but they also borrowed from other institutions, and they would create these really great themed exhibitions. There was a space where they catered to emerging artists, and it was called Project Atrium. And so it was this 40 or 60-foot atrium space that artists got to create whatever they wanted to. So sometimes it was a large mural installation. Other times there were these kinetic sort of sculptures within the space. Sometimes it was a photography exhibition. But Project Atrium really exposed me to emerging artists and different art forms. I never considered myself an artist. I still don't consider myself an artist. You don't want me to draw for you. But I really developed a great sense of appreciation for different art forms while working there.
And now you're at a performing arts organization.
And
So how is that transition going?
really, really good. Here, I get to use all of the things that I've learned working in a museum and apply them in what may be considered a non-traditional way. But everything I learned about connecting with communities and presenting artwork um, translates really nicely here. The goal of exhibitions is really to start conversations and provide insight into the experience or culture of others. And the performing arts have the same goal. And so to be able to do it differently is really exciting. To be able to do it in a unique way is really exciting. And here I get to leverage all of my education experience through the programming that we do in our School of Arts and Health, which is really exciting. And our School of Arts and Health is really the most beautiful part of CFC Arts. People think of CFC Arts and they immediately envision our 300 voice community choir or 180 member symphony orchestra. But the work that we do in our School of Arts and Health is so precious, and we reach some of the most vulnerable members of our community.
With the performing arts, for instance, with ragtime, there are social issues and historical issues related to that. And I believe you're creating educational content around that as well. So it's kind of the history, the connecting with people. Tell me about that and how you've gone about creating additional material for the performance of ragtime.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about the programming that we're presenting around ragtime. And it's a really great reminder of where I started in creating public programming, because the point of public programming is always about extending what you're presenting to the audience. You want to extend it and you want to create opportunities for engagement. And so by creating these programs around ragtime, we're doing that for our audience and we're really providing time for them to connect with the material in advance of the show. So one of the programs that we'll do to connect with ragtime is based off of a scene called and a song in the show called "What a Game." And so I don't know that many people know this, but the first integrated Little League game that was played in the South was played here in Orlando. And so we'll do a film screening of the documentary "Long Time Coming." We'll work with a local artist named Brandon Martin to produce a Voice of Justice cabaret. Brandon is an incredibly talented individual, and he really takes you through the African American experience through music. There are songs like Strange Fruit by Nina Simone, but also he bookends it with Make Them Hear You from the musical Ragtime. We'll also do a tour of the exhibition Uprooting Prejudice at the Holocaust Center with the cast that's open to the public. And then probably the program that I'm most excited about, if that's the right word to use, is a program that we're doing that looks at the evolution of policing in the last 100 years. Ragtime itself is set in the early 1900s. And there's a scene in the musical where one of the character there's a presidential visit, and one of the characters wants to talk to the president, and they think that she has a weapon, and so she's beaten to death. And so we're using that moment to have a conversation with the community about the evolution of policing via a panel discussion. And we're anchoring that by placing it on May 25th, which is the anniversary of George Floyd's death, as well as hosting it rather in the courtroom at the History Center. So you're really getting this layered look at policing on a very important day in a very important space which reinforces the fact that justice isn't always served equally.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, you've had a good base of experiences in various parts of arts and culture. 10 years from now, what would you like to be doing?
10 years from now, I want a job like yours, but not your job. I'd love to be an arts administrator or cultural affairs officer for a city or a county or a university.
All right. And as you look at our Central Florida art scene, um, other than CFC Arts, uh, what are other highlights for you, or what do you think is missing?
That is a great question. The highlights are all around. They're all around in all of our large budget organizations. They're all around in our small organizations. I think the ingenuity and the inventiveness that we see that comes across in the community collaborations is really, really robust and adds such a value to residents and visitors to Orlando and Orange County. Um, I think probably one of the highlights are things like the Creative City Project or Immerse. Everything that the OPO does and the ballet and the Dr. Phillips Center and all that they have done in the last several years to really bring diverse stories and groups to our town. I have enjoyed all of that very, very much.
Super. Well, we are delighted that you're here, Terrance, and keep up the good work. Thank you for talking with me today.
Thank you.
And thank you for those of you watching our Playfully Orange conversation. I do a diverse Orange conversation on Tuesdays, but have a great day.